What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. So, yesterday we talked about rotation, with Temporal forces coming out this week on Thursday. So get ready. We talked about the rotation, all the cards that are affected, and today we're going to talk about our decks that the top decks. What happens to them? What happens to the top 6 decks? And we know what the top 6 decks are thanks to Limitless. And not only that, Limitless has been tracking the City League Championship over in Japan, which is fantastic. It's like the best way to gather data on this new set, right? What's happening, what's with rotation, temporal forces, all that kind of fun stuff, right? And so what I did is I picked, like Giratina, for example. I found that the most recent deck that won, that was Giratina. I picked Charizard, and I picked the most recent deck that won Charizard. Gardevoir, Mew, Lost on Box, and Roaring Moon. I picked all those decks, and I picked, what's, the most recent one, talked about it, because as the meta evolves, deck lists do change, right? That's why I didn't want to post this video so early, like, these are the best decks, and these are lists. No, these lists are current, and this is what you should be playing this weekend, right? This week, tomorrow, this should go up Wednesday, which means Thursday, this should be what you're playing and testing, because these are the best decks in Japan as of right now, right? So these are the best decks right now, the most up-to-date list, what has currently won. That's the big thing, right? And like I said, we have Giratina, Charizard, Gardevoir, Mew, Lost Box, and Roaring Moon. And a lot of the decks are going to stay. They don't lose too many things, but they lose some stuff, obviously. And so the first one's going to be Giratina. Now, this Giratina list is pretty cool because if you scroll down, you can see he's doing well in a bunch of different places. But you can see it recently just got first on 317. I'm recording this on 318. And so let's open as an image, which once again, it's all on Limitless, right? Fantastic. You can find so much information on there. So Lost Box Giratina, right? The big thing about here is No More Escaper. We talked about this yesterday. No More Escaper, probably the worst card, probably my most sad card is gone. But now we have Giratina V-Star, Comfy, same kind of engine. Say about with the Cramorant. We got Radiant Greninja. And now we even have this new Virizion EX, or I think it's Iron Leaves EX, right? It's got a cool thing when it moves from the bench to the active. You can move all energies to it. Let me make sure I get that card right. Hold on. Let me make sure. So what you can do also in Limitless, for those who don't know, you can open Builder. You can see a deck list, and here we go. I deleted it. Just leave. Let's try this again. There we go. All right, so we have Iron Leaves here. It has the Rapid Vernier. You may use this ability during your turn when you place Pokemon from your bench. From you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench. Switch Pokemon with the active spot. Then you move any number of energy. You may move any number of energy from your other Pokemon to this Pokemon. 180 to Pokemon can attack during your next turn. This is big because Charizard and Roaring Moon are still big decks there. There's still big decks in Japan, right? So that is a big deal. So that's why we see that in this list, right? So we see, the Iron Leaves. You're going to call it Virizion because I'm still not used to it. But Iron Leaves EX. So it just one-shots, the Charizards, one-shots the Roaring Moon, stuff like that. Playing the Manaphy, protect your bench. Chimpow is really faster. It's faster. So, that's scary. Greninja is scary. We see it here, too. So yeah, it's scary. We have the 4 Crawlers, the Boss, the Roxanne, the Iona, the stuff we always seen. The 4 Nastball, the Mirage Gate, this Switch card. Like I said, no more Escape Rope. We have Switch card though. You could play Switch, but I don't see why you would play Switch. I guess to get the Giratina V-Star the active. There's new Buddy Putty Poffin, search deck for 2 Pokemon with 70 HP or less. And I think you put them to your bench. I think it goes to your bench. Yeah, put them to your bench. So auto bench, just like kind of like how VIP Pass was. So auto bench, Pokemon 70 HP or less, which is great. You can still find your Comfies, which is cool. And you can use it any turn. It's not only your first turn like VIP Pass, right? We still have Hay Ball. We have Counter Catcher to kind of disrupt. And we have the new Prime Catcher. Now, I 100% know what this does. It's the Guzma effect, right? You only have 1 Ace-Spec in your deck, so Ace-Specs are back. Trainer cards, switch when your opponent's bench Pokemon are active. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. So you switch both players and you get to pick, which is pretty sweet. 1 Forest Seal Stone, and I think it's what Japan, from what I've known, Japan has done this for a minute, where they play Forest Seal Stone, so they can use the Star Requiem if they want to, but they also have the access of using Forest Seal Stone to guarantee the setup. There's a new board card, I don't know the exact name of it, it's called Emergency Board. The retreat cost this Pokemon less cards hatch is 1 less. The Pokemon cards hatch has 32 or less. It has no retreat. Now this is great because it's going to go on Comfy, have free retreat, good to go. You can put it on anybody. You can put it on Radiant Greninja as well too, just as a nice pivot option if you want to as well, which is pretty cool. And then 1 Artisan. And there's no more Path to the Peak. No more Path to the Peak. So you have to play, you can't play Artisan. I don't know the significance of playing no support or no stadium cards. I don't know if that hurts you or not, whatever. I don't know how that works. But one artist to help find the comfies to help get set up, right? We got 4 grass, 3 water, and 3 psychic, and 4 jet energy. So still playing the jet energy with combination of switch card, just switching out the comfies, going really fast, trying to get that lost zone build up, and start attacking with that guillotine turn 2. So that is the plan. So pretty much it kind of stays the same. You just have the new Iron Leaves, you have the Buddy Puff instead of VIP pass. You get the Prime Catcher, which is great because now you have Counter Catcher and Prime Catcher to kind of guarantee some knockouts. And no more path to peak. That's the big thing here. No more path to the peak in Giratina builds, which means you have access to Greninja the whole time too as well. So that's pretty cool. So that's Giratina. Next up is going to be Charizard. So we'll close out of these 2 lists. And yep, we'll just leave that. And here we go. Here is Charizard. That's not what I want to see. We want to open as image. And here we go. So Charizard, it kind of pretty much stays the same. Now, at the beginning, I will say at the beginning, Charizard Beat Barrel was everywhere. It was dominating, but it has slowed down, and now Charizard Pidgeot is the better of the decks. I think it is the better deck. Some people might still disagree and say, Beat Barrel is the better play, but tomato, it's kind of up to you. Still playing that, the heavy Charizard line, of course. You got the 4-2-3. Now, this is pretty interesting playing the 4-2-3. I think this is the more counter the Devolution build. So you have, the 2 and the 3 instead of the 4-1-3, right, that we usually see. So maybe, help with the evolution. You can Rare Candy Charizard turn 1, or turn 2, whatever. And then you could go to Charmeleon if need be, which is pretty neat, right? And you still have multiple options as well, too, if you need a Heat Tackle, or if you need to tackle with, this Charizard, or this Charmander kind of thing. You still have those options. Kind of thing. The 2-2 Pidgeot. We're pretty certain that this Pidgey is the best Pidgey, right? All Family seems the best. Now, they're playing 2 Rotom. Now, this might seem kind of weird, but remember, there's no VIP pass anymore, so you want to guarantee that Rotom, especially in the early game, you want to be able to use that Rotom and draw 3 cards, right? So that's pretty good. Buddy Puffin does not get Rotom. It only gets, your Charmanders and stuff like that, and Charmeleons, and Manaphy, and Jirachi, and Spiritomb and Pidgey. So that's a big thing, but cannot grab Rotom. Now, this list does play Delphox. I don't know the significance of the sniping right now. If you don't know, Delphox has that Magical Fire. 120, put 2 energy attached to this Pokemon to the Lost Zone and attack this 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So maybe it's against Lost Boss decks or something like that. You get the aggression against Giratina, you take it out active in the bench, kind of take both knockouts that way. You do 240, which I think does knock out the Iron Leaves EX. I think it does have a lower amount of HP. I don't know. I'm clicking it's just going to magically bring up Iron Leaves. I don't know the HP, but maybe that could take a knockout or something like that. A Radiant Stars is good, one prize attack or late game 250, really strong. Many protected bench and stuff like this. This is pretty standard stuff that we've seen. Turo is a pretty interesting inclusion. I know some lists have played Turo or Switch. This list is opting to play Turo. We're playing the Buddy Puffins. 4 Candy is a staple. 3-3 at the ball cards. We have 2 Counter Catcher instead of usually just the 1. So we are playing the 2. You are going to go down on price cards, it seems like. And there's no Mew either. So that's, definitely can't, use Mew to help accelerate other things. 2 Super Rod. We are playing 1 Lost Vacuum, 1 Seal Stone, and the new Cape that gives you 100 more HP. So now your Charizard has 430 HP. That's insane. There's a Defiant Spin. 1 collapse stadium. So no artists on at all, just 1 collapse. Most lists are playing 3 stadiums. This one just playing the 1. I don't know if there's a Japanese thing or they all play 1. I don't know. I haven't looked that far into it. I literally just grabbed the most recent decks, so I don't know. 6 fire, 1 mist energy. It makes it where it's not perfected. It is not opponent's attacks don't affect it. So Giratina's lost impact does not knock out a Charizard, which is a pretty big deal. So now it doesn't get the auto KO anymore. And 1 jet energy, I guess just to help switching effect. Against control or something could be useful. Maybe that's the reasoning for it. I don't know. I haven't played much of this meta. I haven't played any of it, so I don't know. But I just grabbed the list. It looks pretty similar. Nothing has changed too much. You have the Buddy Puffin instead of VIP Pass. And I think it's kind of up to you what kind of A-spec you want to play. I know this one and Prime Catcher are the 2 in contention with Charizard right now. But I think it's still the best build. It's slowly becoming, the better of the 2 for sure. Right. So next up we have Gardevoir. Gardevoir, I did lose. It's Gardevoir. Gardevoir lost Gardevoir, which I know seems interesting, right? What I'm saying. How do I open this in a new tab? I can't. Cool. All right, so we I don't think there's anything new here that I don't know. Even the Fluttermane, I know what that does. But yeah, there's no more of the duplicates, so you can't find multiple Curly turn 2, unfortunately. You have to find your Buddy Putty Puffin, your Nest Ball, right? You have to find all this stuff very quickly. No more Low Ball either to find the Curliest. You have to Ultra Ball for them, which is kind of, unfortunate. Now this list is playing Evolution. This is going to help you evolve your Ralts into Curly at turn 2 or turn 1, essentially, which is pretty good. It is an attack, but it's better than passing, I assume, right? Because it's going to find 2 bench Pokemon, evolve them, which is great. You can evolve your Ralts and Curlius and try to get going ASAP. There's no more Zacian either, so that's a big thing too. But we do play Drifloon now. Now, Drifloon was a lot of hype at first, and it seems like it's coming back into the picture. This attack does 30 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you have 6 on it, so you're doing 180 damage. And then, of course, you can put, like, Cape on it, right? Luxurious Cape. You can boost the damage up. Even the new Hero's Cape, you can have 100 more HP, to your guy, right? You get 100 more HP, so you can do more damage that way, which is pretty cool. If you want to go about it that way, you can put that and get 100 more HP. That way you can... Sky's the limit on that one there, buddy, right? Now, there's a Scream Tail. It does the same thing as Sniping, right? Does 20 damage when you opponent's Pokemon for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So that's when your opponent's Pokemon, right? And this one is 30. Yep. So 30 and 20. That's the big difference there. I don't know when you attack with what. I don't know. I'm not 100% certain. This one does have 20 more HP. I've never played Gardevoir. I've played Gardevoir some, don't get me wrong, but I don't know the ins and outs, especially with like Drifloon versus Screamtail. I have no idea. I'm not gonna be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know Screamtail snipes and this one doesn't, right? So that's a big thing. So there you go. That's a big difference there. This list is playing Fluttermane. So as long as Pokemon your active spot, your opponent's as long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's active Pokemon have no abilities except for Fluttermane, right? Now, one thing you could do with Fluttermane is you could throw it in the active spot if you get really lucky, and then you can like evolution your bench and stuff like that. This also has 90 and 2 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon any way you like. I don't think it's a good attacker. I think it's mostly just for the ability just to shut down decks, and that could be really good against like Charizard or something like that. There's a wide year. Once again, we don't have Zacian anymore, so Psyshield Bash is like kind of close. This attack does 40 damage for each hit attached to this Pokemon, but also has that Frontier Road. Once your turn, when this Pokemon moves to your bench, you active spot, move any amount of energy from your Pokemon to it. So like you don't have to use. I actually don't think you can use Gardevoir Sing because this only goes to Psychic Pokemon, but it doesn't take damage from the initial Psychic Embrace, so you can just like you can just sit at the active Psyshield Bash, and they can knock it out. You can just take another knockout because you didn't take any damage from your Guardy. So yeah, there's Guardy. Outside of that, we talked about the Evolution Machine. There's a Bravery Charm cape and the other cape. So a lot of getting more HP. Talent Store to help find those tool cards, right? Gonna find those tool cards. Got 10 Psychic Energy. I think that's like normal. No reversal energy, just like straight out. And yeah, and one Turo, sure. There's Turo in here, Palpat. So sure, there's Turo to heal your guys. I don't know much more to say about Gardevoir. It's just now you're using Gardevoir and like other attackers, right? So that's the big thing here. So good luck with your math. So after Gardevoir, we actually have Mew Genesect, but Mew Genesect rotates, so we have no list for Mew Genesect because it doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, no Mew Genesect. Next up, so be happy, be sad, whatever, I don't care. Lost Zone Box is next. Now there's like always, there's a billion different variations of it. This one, once again, I just grabbed the most recent one, 317, as you can see. Now this one is going to play the Radiant Greninja version. Once again, you can play like the Charizard version, something like that. But I think if you play Charizard, you're not playing all these like lightning and dark attackers. I could be wrong. I have no idea. I don't play Lost Zone Box at all. But I like this one more so because you have these like heavy Pokemon that don't get knocked out immediately. They get some Mirage Gate to it. It's all the same attackers that we've seen. Nothing has changed. You got Prime Catcher now to bring a Pokemon bench deactive. You got this cool skateboard. Outside of that, everything's the same. You don't have escape rope anymore. You still have to switch cart, and depending on the situation you attack with your Pokemon, right? You got Roar Moon to just straight up knockout or do 28 damage. Iron Hands just takes an additional price card against the decks. Riku V is just a quick I need 2 energies and I can just take a knockout. Iron Bundle is not for attacking; it's for its ability to bring a Pokemon for the bench to the active. Right? You may switch out your opponent. Your opponent does choose, but usually take a knockout. I don't think you're using refrigerated steam for 80. I mean, I guess it could be actually. The type of one's an evolution. It can't attack your opponent's next turn. So if they don't have another one up, you could just kind of put them in their place. What's wrong? Well, get up there. Nobody's telling you no. So maybe you can refrigerate a steam and make it where evolutions can't hurt you. Maybe. I can't really say much else about Lost Box. I don't know a lot about it, so I can't really put my input into it. I've never really played it. I played it some, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, it's still good. I think it's the best version for me if I were to play one, just because you have all these different attackers and stuff like that, and they just swing you to a ton of damage. Whereas, like, the Sableye version is, like, you're methodically thinking stuff out. Heck, I might even cut the Sableye, but I know it's probably still really good. What's wrong, Zora? Yeah? You don't like Lost Box either? I'm sorry. So yeah, I can't really say much about Lost Box. It doesn't change really at all because you don't lose any attackers. Next up is Roaring Moon. Now Roaring Moon's pretty interesting because there's like 2 different builds. And today we're going to talk more about the more focused Roaring Moon that you've seen. Then the new iteration that's coming out, and you can see 317. It just recently won. And let's open it as an image, and it's Roaring Moon EX, right? You get the Roaring Moon EX, but you no longer have Moltres, which is which is unfortunate. That was a big part of this deck. So now you're using Professor Sada's. You're like heavily relying on Sada, right? You get 4 of these. You get Dark Patch, kind of stable kind of thing, right? And yeah, you're just trying to draw your deck as quick as possible, Pokestop and energies and stuff like that. You get the Prime Catcher, which is probably pretty good because you can double switch and get your Mew in the active spot, then retreat and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like what we've seen before, right? This listens to play catcher. It's up to you, catcher, not catcher, whatever, blah blah blah. Nope, display Palpat, so that's nice. Checking shoes to draw through the deck. For Earthen Vessel, wow, we are really drawing through the deck. We're trying to get that turn 1 220, right? We're trying turn 1 Calamity Storm, take some knockouts. We do have the 4 Sada, which is great. I think 2 Squawk ability might be kind of the play here, just because you want to guarantee that turn 1 Squawk. But then there's also 4 of this new Roaring Moon. This act does 70 base, but it does 10 more damage for each ancient card in your disco pile. Now, that's actually a lot to ask for, especially like in this kind of list. Like you start looking, and there's only 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 14, right? There's only 14 in here, so that brings you up to only 210. So it's not the best, but it makes it where you actually have a chance against like a Lost Box decks now, because you can use this against Lost Box and this versus everything else. So I think that's a play. You no longer can't attack with Mew anymore. That's not a play anymore because it's still supposed to play Energy Switch. Is Energy Switch still around? I think so. I think it's still around. But it's cool to see like, hey, big EX kind of deck. I'm just going to use Roaring Moon and just take knockouts, right? And if not, I can use regular Roaring Moon, and we're playing Ancient Booster Capsule. I don't know if the other card is rotated. I guess I should have looked into that. But regardless, this makes more sense anyways because this gets more HP now, while the other, the little water pack thing, I don't know its name right now, doesn't really heal this, so it doesn't make that much sense. So I do like that a lot. 2 Pokegear to guarantee that Sada. You're just trying to get that Sada. You're just trying to get that Sada ASAP. You're trying to attach Dark Patch Sada. That's the turn game plan, turn 1, right? And 4 Sadas, you should be able to do that with 4, 4 Earn, 10 Dark, and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's still out there doing stuff. Roman's still a deck to watch out for. So, those are the 6 decks, and it's technically 5 because Mew Genesect has rotated, for those who do not know. So, let me know what you think down below. Did I do a good job covering these decks? I think I did a well job. And it's cool looking into them. The big thing is, like, they don't really change that much. The big thing is that we're changing. There's no more Path to the Peak, so it does unlock more stuff. Like Roaring Moon doesn't have to worry about turn Path to Peak. Gardevoir doesn't have to worry about Iona Path to Peak. Charizard doesn't have to worry about Path to Peak. That is the big change nowadays. I think Path to the Peak being changed is like such a game changer. And you have no idea what's about to happen. Like the meta is about to change so drastically because everybody can use abilities now, and they don't have to worry about anything except for Flood and Rain. But outside of that, you don't have to worry about anything. So guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll cover the decks that I think are good, but that are not currently the best decks, if that makes sense. So we'll cover some decks tomorrow that I think are definitely worth looking into for Thursday into Friday, whatever, for the new set. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. All right, bye.